Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick is quick with me. And we have our boy, the Bears insider, Elon Caberon. What a Sunday. We're going to talk about Nick Foles coming and replacing Mitch Trubisky. We're going to talk about the comeback. We're going to talk everything Bears. We're going to start doing this weekly. If Eli wants to rock with us, that'd be great. I think he will. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to start doing this weekly, start breaking down every game Monday morning, first thing for you guys. A lot to talk about. Big Nick the Quick.
Yeah. Victory Tuesday or Victory Monday. I'm sorry, Monday.
It is it's Victory Monday.
Kinda.
And a very, very interesting W. Eli, welcome in, bro.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for hopping on. It's a great week to hop on. I know we were talking about it might be a boring, dull first recap show, and then it completely flipped on its head.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears decided to change quarterbacks, and the whole game flipped, like you said, on its head. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, let's jump right into it. Nick, I'll go to you first. You're sitting down on your couch, you're looking at the screen, and the quarterback doesn't have a 10 on his back. It's now a number 9.
Yeah.
This is the moment Foles enters. Let's take a look.
1 foot inbounds and 1 foot out of bounds.
The ball we placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
That's a heads-up play by Ryan Nall. Yeah, you don't usually see players do that. You rarely get the opportunity. That's a very headsy play. And now that is taught by special teams coaches around the league. If you step out of bounds, keep 1 foot inbounds.
Hey, you know when you're watching the news or something, and the president comes on, and they like cut what they were doing and go to the president.
Yeah, Kenny Albert needed to do
that.
Yo,
Kenny, why are we still talking about the special teams play? Yeah. Nick Foles just walked on the field, bro. Forget about that special teams play and address why number 9's on the field.
And John Vilma was trying to hop in there and let him know, like, hey, he just kept going.
Like, bro, kill that special teams talk. What were your first thoughts about Foles entering? I want to talk about the timing of it. I thought that was really interesting. I got a quote from Nagy we'll go over as well. Nick, we'll start with you. What did you think about the timing of it? I mean,
I think it was
26-10. Yeah, give me your thoughts.
It was very telling. Yeah, I was shocked, like very, very, very shocked when it happened for a lot of different reasons. Number one, Mitch wasn't playing great. Obviously, he missed the touchdown to Tony Miller. That was an inexcusable throw. He had just come off that interception, which, yeah, it was a pick, but man, a lot of quarterbacks will throw that pick. A guy sits back on a route, you don't see him, you throw it, he's gonna make that interception. It wasn't an egregious interception. It wasn't one like when Nagy watches the film, he's gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe he made that throw. It was just, it happens, right?
I don't know about that, but address that.
You've seen worse picks is my point. You've seen picks where it's just like, oh my God, I cannot believe he just threw that ball. Like I need to get him out the game right now. That wasn't that. To see him go to Foles that early confirms something that I think you had talked about a couple weeks ago when you said Matt Nagy didn't make this decision. And I kind of fought you on that. I was like, nah, man, I think when he brought in Foles, Pace kind of gave him the freedom to make that choice and to go with the quarterback that he wanted to. Man, how fast he pulled Trubisky, just based on how the year's gone, based on how that game was going, lets you know that as soon as he saw any type of opening that he could explain why he made that move, he was going to do it. And I think once he had that, hey, look, we're down 16. He wasn't making plays. He just threw an interception. I wanted to change it up. He had his built-in excuse ready to go. He made that move. At no point did he want Mitch Trubisky to be his quarterback this year because, again, through at that point, 11 quarters of football, he hadn't been terrible, right? He hadn't been terrible. He hadn't been pull this guy, bench him immediately. So when he made that, it confirmed to me that Nagy never wanted this guy to be his quarterback this year at any point and never trusted him.
Yeah, Eli, what do you think?
I agree with Nick. I mean, you look at the training camp, neither guy pulled away, and so he had to go back to Mitch. first, he wasn't going to bench him in the first game, no matter how bad the offense looked in Detroit. And then they were winning most of the game against the Giants. I mean, they were winning the entire game, and so he couldn't justify pulling him then. So third quarter of the third game, he decided he'd seen enough out of Mitch. I was surprised that the move didn't happen at halftime and that he waited for that interception. But for a fourth-year quarterback, Mitch has to play better in a game against one of the worst defenses in the league. So his performance warranted a benching. I just didn't foresee Foles coming in and playing much better. And to be honest, right away he didn't play better. He had the interception in the end zone on the contested catch with Allen Robinson, and then
that's not his fault though.
No, that was not his fault. But then that was followed by a punt, like a 3-and-out, and then turnover on down. So it wasn't looking like the Bears were just going to start rolling once Foles came in. So the timing was surprising to me, and then the turnaround performance from Foles was surprising to me.
Yeah, it was. Nick, I kind of given you my peek on what I was thinking there. Let me give you a quote from Nagy about the timing, about the benching. And I quote, this is Matt Nagy, "That seemed like the right time. We were lacking a little bit of rhythm. There wasn't a lot of energy. There was just something missing." The timing and that quote, like you said, Nick, tells me exactly what I needed to know.
Yeah.
He was leaning Foles the whole way. Pace was putting tons of pressure on him to play Trubisky. And you want to know when a good time to change your quarterback and not have to discuss it or talk to anybody about it is in the middle of the third quarter when you're down 26-10.
Yep.
Like, wait, he doesn't have to talk to Pace. He's like, yo, give me Foles, man.
Yeah.
Forget about all this. Like, I don't need to talk. I don't want to talk about it in the post game. I don't want to talk about it with Pace after the game. Give me Foles now, and let's see what happens. I thought this was also interesting. And to say, and to go back and talk about this, to say that I was shocked is an understatement. Like, when I saw him come out, I was dumbfounded. I was like, initially I was like, man, this is because, and no one's talking about this because it worked out and he played so well, is he's in a terrible position. The defense knows he's going to throw it every single down. He has to come out. He hasn't played all year. He looked phenomenal, looked ready to go. Seemed like the right time. Nagy was ready to go to Foles the whole way. And that was that.
He was ready to go to Foles 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, look at how Mitch has played this year. Overall, it hasn't been great, but it hasn't been awful to where it's like, man, every single down we're clamoring for a new quarterback. Like, he had some solid quarters. He had some moments, right? He still misses on, like Eli had said, he still misses on a lot of things that in his fourth year in the National Football League, he should 100% be executing on. But overall, it wasn't like a train wreck to where it's like, man, it's not like, if they had lost that game today, we'd be sitting around being like, where's Nick Foles? We need Nick Foles. We might have mentioned it, but it wasn't like, people were going to get all crazy about it. He had his mind made up. He saw his opening. The first moment that he saw an opeting, I'm surprised he didn't pull him after the missed touchdown. He probably thought about it. You know what I mean? So he definitely thought about it. But, for a guy like Matt Nagy, who's a play caller, a play designer, I'm sure that missing that touchdown sticks with him, right? He thinks about that's just a wasted opportunity. That was an easy touchdown. Mitch couldn't execute on him. So that's bothering him the entire game. Then Mitch comes out, throws that pick. Again, yeah, it's inexcusable, but there are worse interceptions that you can throw. And he pulls them immediately. Like there was no choice. And they shoot to Mitch on the bench. He's looking like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. This is the second time my head coach has benched me in 12 games. Yeah, I mean, it's over. So when I texted you and I was like, man, I think his confidence is shot. It wasn't like I'm worried about Mitch Trubisky's, mental makeup. I don't know how he comes back from that. You just got pulled for really no reason.
I thought that they might say like he got hurt because remember last year in LA, yeah, and they were like, oh, his thumb hit the center's helmet on the throw, and he couldn't play the last 4 minutes against the Rams. Yeah. I mean, who knows if that was accurate or not? But I thought maybe he had gotten banged up at some point, but no, it was strictly performance, and it was justified. Yeah, Mitch was not playing well. He missed that touchdown, and the team needed a spark. They weren't going to do it against the Lions, where Mitch had a track record of killing the Lions, and like I said, the Giants, they were ahead the whole game, so this was their chance. They have a tougher schedule coming up with the Colts and then a short week against the Bucs. So if you're going to make a quarterback change, this is the time to do it.
What are our thoughts on Nagy not telling Trubisky himself, but letting offensive coordinator Bill Lazor do it?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
No.
I mean, the offensive coordinator and the quarterback are in each other's ear the whole game. In theory, Nagy's supposed to be coaching the whole team. Like if there's a defensive substitution, that wouldn't be Nagy's call either. So I mean, obviously, quarterback's the most important position, but
I feel like it's such a pivotal moment.
If he and the OC are on the same page, let the OC take care of that.
I think it's based on the teams, how the coach runs his organization, right? If the coach has that relationship where he's the guy that delivers that news, then he should be doing that. And the only reason I think that it's kind of petty on his part is that last year when he benched him, Nagy is sitting on national TV, hugging him, all in his ear, giving him the news. So that's how Nagy runs his organization. Nagy has to be the one that delivers that news because he delivered it last year.
So I think this is the thing. I think that he didn't like how that was portrayed in the media and how people talked about him, consoling Mitch, because we did kind of rip him for that. It's like, yo, you coddle this guy. All you guys do is try to make sure that this guy feels comfortable. This is the National Football League. Tell him he's not playing anymore, and you don't need to give him a big hug on the sideline. So I think that was in his mind too. And obviously, I can't get into Matt Nagy's head, but I think he was sick of Mitch Trubisky not playing to his level. And like you said about the play call, Nick, there can't be anything more frustrating than designing a perfect play, calling it in the perfect time, and you getting an opportunity to hit it for a touchdown, and he misses it, right?
And everything went right except for the throw. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, and that sticks with him. He designed that play like, he was sick.
Right. So it's like he was just fed up, man. We're getting embarrassed again. The Falcons are shit. Let's be serious. Like these teams that we're playing are shit. And he's like, yo, man, get him out of here. Give me Trubisky or give me Foles. I will say this. I don't need him to go hug him. I would have liked Nagy to go over and tell him, even if he's just like, yo, I'm taking Foles.
Yeah.
Nick, you're in. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
we don't need to talk about it. You don't need to have a conference call about it. You
exactly.
just said, hey, this is what we're doing. You can deal with it how you want to. And then at that point, Bill Lazor can come over and console him and whatever it is that they do. And, this is why we did this. Keep your head up and all that.
Hold on. No. Listen,
not console, but you know what I mean?
Remove that from the sentence.
Go over there. Yeah, go over there and talk to him and do that whole thing that he's supposed to do at that point so Nagy can get back to the business of coaching the team, because at that point, Foles is in, you got a new quarterback, and you got to start establishing that rapport. I mean, look, man, it's if they are still actively trying to coddle Mitch Trubisky's feelings at this point, then we are way far past where we need to be. But I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah, that would be an organizational failure if they were still.
Yeah,
like you've wasted so many draft picks, so much time on this guy. Like, he's a good person and a bad quarterback. Move on to whoever's next. Like, it's not Nagy's job to play the grievance counselor to help him deal with it.
Right.
Good guy, bad QB. I just want to say one thing. I saw this last night on Twitter from Tom Waddle, and I thought he summed it up perfectly. He said, "Coach made a decision he thought was best for the team. He trusts 9 to run the offense he wants to run. 9 may not always get the ball there, but he knows where it's supposed to go. Always. Trust between a coach and a QB is paramount. Still a lot of improving to do." Right on the head.
Yeah.
Did not trust Mitch Trubisky. He knows Nick Foles isn't perfect, but he knows that Foles, again, knows what he's trying to do and knows where the ball's supposed to go. And he does not have that confidence in Mitch Trubisky. I think that's a perfect statement for what happened.
And he dialed up
coach. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. He dialed up that exact same play on the game-winning touchdown to Miller. Like he said, I read after the game, Foles was just run to the A in the end zone and I'll put the ball there. Yeah, Nick Foles doesn't throw as pretty of a ball. He doesn't have the legs to run that 46-yard sneak that Trubisky had earlier, but he knows where the ball's supposed to go and he'll get it out in time. That's all this Bears team needs at this point.
Yeah, and this is a perfect segue. This is the Foles game winner to Anthony Miller right here.
On the practice squad player. Let's see how that looks. 3rd down and 8 with the Bears already in field goal range. The pass is caught in the end zone for a touchdown by Anthony Miller. The Chicago Bears take the lead with 1:53 seconds remaining. Anthony Miller in the slot. Very similar route where he.
I thought about taking that Anthony Miller celebration out, but I had to leave. I had to let my man get that in.
Tony.
Listen, bro. Trubisky does not make that throw. It's just a sack. He showed it multiple times. He doesn't fade away and put the ball up in the air. Like Eli said, he said, put it to the A. Trubisky.
Or the L. It was the L, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Put it out there with some space for Tony to go get it.
And you know, it's probably frustrating for the coaching staff. Like you said, he doesn't make that throw, but he absolutely 100% can.
Right.
And that's the problem.
He would have tried to scramble or something, like you said.
It's like he can make this throw, and it's so frustrating that he cannot, right? Or that he doesn't, and Foles puts it right on the numbers.
He has the physical tools, doesn't have the mental ones. That's really what it comes down to. And I've never, and I mean, he's not very accurate either. But yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying, Nick, is like the live arm is there. He's mobile. He has talent. He just can't
call the play.
You
keep it in the playbook with Mitch Trubisky because he can make that throw, but he won't. He doesn't.
Right. He's going to get a job in this league because there's a lack of legit quarterbacks in the entire world. So he's going to be employed, but he should not be a starting quarterback this inconsistent in his 4th year in the NFL.
See, I wonder, would you want Mitchell? So when I think of backup quarterback, I think about a guy who is mentally strong, can handle the playbook, knows the plays in the playbook, and then provides value when he's not playing as far as, hey, this is what I saw helping the starter out. I don't see that from Mitch Trubisky. I don't see a guy who's overly intelligent, who, again, I think it's all physical tools for him. I think that he doesn't have the mental intangibles to be a backup quarterback. Like when I think backup, I think Chase Daniel, I think Brian Hoyer. Like those guys are backup quarterbacks. That's what they do.
So clipboard guys?
Yeah, but they also know they're smart as hell. They know the play. But if you put them in, it's like, hey, they're not going to do anything, but they know what they're supposed to do. I feel like with Trubisky, he's too much of a project to be a backup quarterback. I feel like he's boomer bust.
Two qualities. He's a good guy, and he's not going to backstab the starter. Like, he's not coming for that number one job. He's going to be quiet.
He definitely coming for that number one job.
He's going to chill there. He's going to get along with everybody. Like, that's kind of half the battle with being a backup quarterback, especially if you're, like, behind a good quarterback, like Patrick Mahomes or something that you're never going to have to come in. Like, can't hurt.
I think that's interesting. I think that's interesting. Just having a good guy, a guy that keeps quiet. It's the guy that doesn't ruffle any feathers. He just makes his $3.5 million.
That's the old Jim Sorgi story with the Colts. They were like, how come Sorgi never gets any practice reps? And he's like, because if Peyton Manning gets hurt, we're fucked anyways. So, like, we might as well have a nice guy out there. Like, it doesn't matter.
Purdue Boilermaker, right?
I thought he was a Badger.
Must be a Badger. He might be a Badger, actually. I think he's a Badger. Yeah, you're right. Big Ten guy.
If you didn't even know he was a Badger, he's a Badger. Like in his game, everything about him is a Badger.
His whole life is Badger. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you guys a question. Barring injury, do we ever see Mitch Trubisky? I mean, outside of Foles would have to be a complete train wreck, I guess. Yeah. But barring injury or Foles being a complete train wreck, do we ever see Mitch Trubisky again throwing a pass with Chicago Bears?
I don't think so. I mean, he has those physical tools to run, but it's not worth it to insert that into the offense just for that. I don't think we would see him again. No.
Closing the book, or you at, Sean?
Yeah, man, what?
It's over with.
It's completely over with. I tweeted out that him and Dan Quinn need to walk out of the stadium together and literally evaporate, never to be heard from again. Like, and let me be clear about like what we're saying about this Trubisky stuff. It's completely quarterback on the play driven. I don't know Mitch Trubisky. He seems like a really solid dude.
By all accounts, good dude in the community.
Good guy. I just don't want him to be the quarterback of my team that I root for. Like that's it. And it's no more than that.
Strictly business. Yeah.
Strictly business. I think I think it's completely done and over. I think because now I think Nagy, like we said, I think Nagy's wanted to bench him. Do you guys remember how frustrated Nagy was last year?
Yeah,
he didn't want him to be the quarterback then. Like
he benched him.
Exactly. It's very clear that Nagy came into a situation where the quarterback was already hand selected, and it was very clear that he was going to be the quarterback until he absolutely could not be the quarterback anymore. And I think now Nagy has some grounds, some proof in the pudding. He's going to go to Pace. If Pace even attempted to be like, this is still a competition, then he just rolls the Atlanta tape. Yeah, we'll never hear from Mitch Trubisky again in the starting role unless Nick Foles is hurt.
And if they don't make the playoffs, that could be it for Ryan Pace. Because I mean, with the Trubisky era closes, that's
Yeah,
his biggest
usually
failure.
hand in hand. Yeah,
they're hand in hand. So I mean, if they make the playoffs, obviously you're not going to fire your GM after a playoff run. But
shit.
yeah, man, it is like it's almost like a funeral Monday. I mean, the Mitch Trubisky's been dead in my mind, but now it's like official. There's no like, let's throw him back. It was almost like when we knew Derrick Rose, like, hey, it's over with.
Yeah.
It's just done. It's just no, it's not there.
Yeah.
Like it's official with Mitch, man. Like, what a waste of 4 fucking years. What a waste of drafting the wrong quarterback. What a waste of all this development. What a waste of a Super Bowl caliber defense. And now here we are back at square one, and rolling with Nick Foles, while Cam Newton and other gentlemen were available to play quarterback.
I mean, I said this. I tweeted out that the Bears are 3-0 and Mitchell Trubisky is no longer the quarterback, and that's what I've wanted for a while now, right?
Yeah.
So if we're here now, we're 3-0. I will say this, man. How many years have we opened the season against like the Packers?
Yeah.
Or like a primetime tough game? Man, it has been a very fortunate for us that we opened the season with the Giants, the Lions, and the Falcons, because this could be a whole other conversation. So the fact that, because we literally played 3 shit teams, we beat all 3 in comeback fashion in 2 of them, and on top of all that, we get Trubisky out from under center, and we get the new guy in. Like, I mean, I don't know how we got here. I do know how, but I didn't see it happening like this. But now we're moving forward. What do you guys now have expectations changed? Like, what are we looking at for the rest of the year? Eli, give me your thoughts on should we be thinking of this team as a 10 win team now?
I mean, the math says yes. I don't think they're still that good. Like, they've played 5 good quarters out of 12 against, like you said, 3 of the worst teams in the league. The Falcons quit on their coach 3 weeks ago. Like, they're not good, and the Bears needed every break they could get to win. So, yeah, they could win 10 games by there's 13 left. They could go 7-6 in those 13 and still go 10-6 for the year. But is that a team that's going to cause much trouble in the playoffs? Do you see them beating Seattle or Green Bay? Like, home field advantage doesn't matter anymore, but even in Chicago, even in Soldier Field, they're not going to stop Russell Wilson. They're not going to stop Aaron Rodgers. Like, they're not a very good team for 4 quarters yet. I haven't seen that, considering they played only 5 good quarters all year.
I'm here to win ball games, so I mean, yeah, it doesn't change my opinion on them and me thinking that they're going to be some playoff team. But man, I would love to see them continue to win. I'd love to see them get to 10 wins, and I'd love to see them make the playoffs. I can't handle watching. I really, like, for me, man, it's tough for me to watch bad teams that are going nowhere, and I can't handle, what I thought we'd be done by week 5. I knew that, hey, the Bears are going to be trash, and here we go for the rest of the year. I better find another team to watch. So for me, if they're good, if they're competitive, for sure, you are what your record says you are, and 7 more wins out of the next 13 gets us to the playoffs. No, I see what you're saying though. Like, we're gonna get there, and it's a trash team. It's kind of like being the 8th seed in the NBA, but at the same time, man, like, I just want
a playoff run for sure. Yeah,
for sure. I want these guys to get in the playoffs, and I want to see what happens, because I'd rather be competitive than not be competitive.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna say this. Say what you want. Say it's just chance but the defense, there's something about being on defense, and Nick, we talk about this all the time, that when you have faith in the offense, you just play better defense as a unit. You want to get stops. You want to go out there and get the offense back. And I think you can. Hey, I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but I know that Nick Foles came in, and all of a sudden Atlanta was going 3 and out all over the place, and they were turning the ball over.
Did you see him on the sidelines? He was getting wild, rallying people up.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right? So, like, the spark thing doesn't just happen on offense. It gives the defense hope. There's nothing like getting a stop on defense and knowing, like, man, the offense isn't going to do shit with this stop.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is that we could get a stop or not. It doesn't even matter, right? So I thought it was interesting that the defense picked up their play. Mac in the row, we got a good amount of pass rush in the first half, so that was very, very encouraging. But they were still moving the ball, right? But Foles comes in, the defense looks better. They're more hyped up. They start getting 3 and outs. Real quick, let me get your guys' thoughts on the D because they've looked bad. Like, let's keep it 100. They've looked bad a good chunk of the year. They closed out the game yesterday really, really well. How do you feel about the D? Or is it just a new season now? Like, is it just like a new day? Like, is everything going to change going forward with the D, with the O? But give me your thoughts on the D and where we're at with them.
I don't think it's a new season for the defense. They got to figure out the Falcons were running the ball all over the place on the Bears yesterday at will, whenever they wanted to, especially that opening drive coming out of halftime. They just ran it down our throats. And that cannot happen. So, yeah, I'd be very concerned about the defense going forward. I'm concerned about the secondary outside of Kyle Fuller. Offensive coordinators, head coaches, stop throwing the ball at Kyle Fuller. It's not a good idea. It's not happening. My man is a lockdown cornerback. Pick on the other Bears defensive. Pick on Jalen Johnson. I like Jalen Johnson. He's good. But, you know, that Ridley play, things like that, you can't give up plays like that. But stop throwing the ball at Kyle Fuller.
It's crazy because I would say the whole city was about 2 weeks away from sending Kyle Fuller out to wherever he wanted to go, right? And now he is a complete and absolute Pro Bowl stud.
One of the best cornerbacks in the NFL.
100%, without question.
So he's one of the best corners in the NFL, yeah. So I'm happy with that there. But, yeah, overall, I would definitely have concerns with the defense, especially, again, the running game. Stopping the run yesterday was a major problem. Gurley averaged 5.7 yards a carry. Brian Hill, who I don't know who that is, averaged 6.4 yards a carry. Both of them had touchdowns. So, yeah, I mean, you can't get ran over like that. Luckily, you were playing the Atlanta Falcons, and they, man, I don't even know where to begin with that franchise. But, yeah, you know, they gave it back to us. But, yeah, you cannot let a team run all over you like that. Like you said, the pass rush is better. It's gotten better each week as far as the pressure that we're getting on the quarterback. But still not that dominant unit or even close to that dominant unit that we want to see, that we need to see.
Nick, I agree with you. They dial it up when they feel that offense coming along. Like in the fourth quarters against Detroit and yesterday against the Falcons, the pass rush was getting after the quarterback. But in the first half, there was nothing to be found. Like Calvin Ridley had all the space in the world against the secondary. The pass rush wasn't making an impact. I thought there was that questionable roughing the passer call on Hicks that extended that drive that led to that Brian Hill touchdown. I also don't know who that is. He was
killing us.
Any of us could have scored that touchdown. He had so much space. They need to be aggressive from the start. Pagano sits back in that zone, and Stafford and Ryan have picked them apart, and they need to get better going forward because they are going to face some tougher quarterbacks in the next few months. So they need to dial it back up to that 2018 level. I mean, last year the defense was good too, but that aggression where Mack and now Quinn coming off the edge and Hicks up the middle, Bilal Nichols had a nice sack, but they need to get back to pressuring the quarterback and making the secondary's job easier.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here, short and sweet, Bears 3-0. Give how big of, I'll kick it off with you, Eli. How big of a loss is Tariq Cohen? And man, that's so brutal to make the right play, call a fair catch, and then get rolled up on like that. How big of a loss is that for the O and the team overall?
Well, first off, I'm glad he got paid. Like, good on him to sign the contract last week.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's crazy.
That's wild.
I think it's a pretty big loss. I mean, their backups are behind Montgomery are Cordell Patterson, who's a converted wide receiver, special teamer, and Ryan Nall, who's an undrafted free agent who's been on the team for a couple years and mostly is a special teams guy. So if you're talking about carries and now we don't have a running quarterback, so they're going to need to relieve Montgomery at some point. And I mean, Patterson's done an okay job, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and tried to find another running back. And like you guys know, finding running backs off the street is pretty easy. Like if that guy can move, it's a pretty easy fit to just get him in the system and have him going. So that's not the hardest position to fill, but Tariq does so much for that offense, for the special teams. I think it's a pretty serviceable loss.
Yeah, I agree. Tariq Cohen, he doesn't get a ton of touches, but he gets what I call the impact touches. If you look at how they opened up the game yesterday, I think it was the first play we ran was that draw play to Tariq Cohen, and he got a good chunk of yardage from that. So again, he doesn't get a ton of touches, but I think Nagy likes having him in the offense, kind of like how he has, Cordero Patterson. He likes to kind of throw these guys out there. They'll get up a big chunk of yardage. You might not see him again for the rest of the game, but he likes having that in his back pocket. And I think as the year goes on, we were probably going to see a lot more Tariq Cohen. So, yeah, big loss. I'm happy he got paid, but, man, you really hate to see that, especially on a team that, we can't really afford to lose any of our weapons. So I know he hasn't produced a ton so far this year, but we know what Tariq Cohen can do. And, yeah, he's a returner too, which is a huge loss.
Yeah, I mean, because then who are you going to put back there? Tony Miller?
Throw another guy back there. Well, you can't. Yeah, you can't have him get hurt.
Yeah,
and he's not the most reliable catcher. His hands are not the strongest, so I don't know how I feel about him on punts. But
you don't want a guy with a lack of focus back there catching punts.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with both you guys. I think it's a big loss. I think he's a dynamic dude. He can do dynamic.
You can't find those guys off the street. Like, you can find a random running back, but you can't find someone like Tariq's explosiveness just sitting out there.
Exactly, I agree. And let's touch on Montgomery really quick about running back depth, like you said, Eli. And Montgomery gets pounded. Like, I don't know if you guys. I mean, I'm sure you guys were watching either Heat Celtics and flipping back and forth between Saints Packers. But for example, like Aaron Jones and Kamara, they get hit, but they don't really get hit like that.
Right.
Like Kamara seems like he's always just floating around,
and then he doesn't get hit.
He like tackles himself. It's like he's like, okay, he like knows when he can wiggle out of a situation, knows when he can't, and when he can, he kind of just like gives himself up. You know what I'm saying? Montgomery is running hard and taking shots, and I love to see that, but he's a lot more susceptible to getting hurt than a lot of other guys that are getting the touches that he's getting in the league.
Do you guys remember growing up Raymond Harris?
Raymond Harris.
He reminds me of Raymond. Like he always falls an extra yard and a half forward. Like, even if he's tackled, like, he's going to gain yardage just by being tackled, and that's what I feel like Montgomery does. But that wear and tear can add up real quick. So, like, he's like you said, Nick, he doesn't get tackled gracefully.
Yeah, he might be a one contract back.
Right.
That one contract back is not. You don't want to be considered that guy.
No.
So, like that play of him on the sideline on the catch, where he was trying to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, he was taking like big shot after big shot after big shot. So, really quick before we get out of here, a little look ahead to Indianapolis. And it's very well documented that I do not like Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers will give you opportunities to take the ball away. So I think that'll be an interesting. That's big. Yeah, he will turn the ball over. Where are we at with you guys know the big lure of being a Chicago Bear and being a Chicago Bears fan, and you got to come to Soldier Field and this, that, and the crowd is going to be this and the weather is going to be that. But obviously there's no fans. I don't know if we're going to have any fans in there. I don't think so.
No. Because Illinois, you still can't have gatherings over 50
people. Yeah. Where are we at with that game? Where are we at with our home field advantage, if you can call it that? I mean, I don't think Daniel Jones had any trouble.
You still got to play on that shitty field that the Park District doesn't maintain. Yeah. So yeah, he's still playing on that terrible field, so we got an advantage there.
Turf monster.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not going to have the crowd advantage, but to your point, man, Philly Rivers is an opportunistic quarterback, and we're an opportunistic defense. So I would imagine that Eddie Jackson is going to get to eat a little bit in this game. So I'm excited about that. But they're one of those teams that is tough to figure out because they could turn around and beat the brakes off the Bears, or Phillip Rivers could throw 4 picks.
Yeah,
and it's really, they're like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type squad.
There's someone on Twitter, I forgot, my apologies to remember this, but like there's someone on Twitter that's like every Phil Rivers game he's either up or down 3 points with 2 minutes to go. Like, it doesn't matter what team he's on, who he's playing against. And you remember that Chargers game last year against the Bears where the Bears just that was the Trubisky game where I thought Nagy was going to like yank him by the neck and just pull him out. They couldn't move the ball in the red zone at all, and they lost because the kicker was horrible. Also, like this game is going to the Bears game plus a Phillip Rivers game. You know that it's coming down to the end, and it's going to be aggravating and horrible to watch. And hopefully we'll win it, but it's not going to be pretty.
Nick, any comments on the kicker?
What did I tell you? Sucks. Hey, you tried to say last week, like, oh no, that was 50 yards, man. No, it's 50 yards. You know, I get it. You know, 50 is like not a crazy kick in the NFL. I was like, no, dude, 50 is makeable in the NFL with no weather, straight down the middle. And then what happens in a dome? He misses a 46-yarder. Was it 46 that he missed yesterday? Hey, that's other thing with Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace has had 2.5 years to find a kicker. Yeah. And still, for whatever reason, has not found a quality kicker in all these weeks and all these months and all these games and all these missed kicks and all these Cody Parkey replays. Still has not found a suitable kicker for the Chicago Bears, and that's a tragedy. Get Carlos Santos out of town.
I think Pinheiro comes off the IR this week.
Yeah,
I think
he's okay. Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's better than Santos. Santos is trash.
You said no confidence when he jogs out?
No, zero confidence. How could you? If you can't, if you miss in perfect weather in domes, you can't. How are you going to make it when the weather turns? We're not too far from winter here. You know what I mean?
It's always the worst when you don't like your kicker and they run him out and the CBS or Fox pans to him and you're just like, this fuck. God,
it's like when you have a bad closer in baseball and it's like, oh, hell.
Yes,
like, here we go again.
Like, oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
Not this guy.
Kimbrel?
Yeah,
exactly. The Carlos Marmol theory, like it's like this could go any direction.
Hey, wasn't that your guy, Sean Marmol?
Fucking loved Marmol.
You loved Marmol, dude. That was your boy.
He took years off my life,
dude. One of the most exciting guys.
Exactly for both teams. Yeah,
like without question, Marmol could. Oh my God, Marmol was so exciting, bro. He was so good and so bad at the same time. You just like never knew who you were gonna get.
Right.
Carlos.
There
Marmol.
would be there would be days where he would come in and was untouchable.
Right.
You could not touch him, and he could easily come the next day and be throwing the ball at the backstop. like bouncing the ball on the grass, like forget about hitting the dirt. Like, yeah, it was I loved him though. He was great.
Carlos Marmol.
Shout out Carlos Marmol. We'll leave it there, man. I think Eli laid it out perfectly. We got a couple tough games coming up. We got the Colts now. We're gonna we're gonna be coming off a short week, and then we have the Bucks. So this is where we find out if the Foles thing can actually really work. We'll see how competitive we are. And another scheduling break is that both of those guys are at home.
Yeah,
we don't have to go to Tampa. We don't on a primetime game on a short week. They got to come to Chicago, and we get the Colts out of the dome. That's a big deal.
Are we just loaded up on away games at the end of the year? We've only played. This was our first road game yesterday, right?
No, Detroit was
at
Detroit.
Oh, it was Detroit. We were at Detroit. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, 2 of the last 3 are on the road. I'm looking at the schedule now, but
but at that point, when you got 12 wins,
and one of those is Jacksonville, so that's like whatever.
Oh, Nick Foles is going home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, boys, we'll leave it there, man. I love this. We'll keep doing this weekly. Eli, thanks for joining. For Big Nick the Quick and Eli Keberon, I am your host, Sean Little. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago Bears are 3-0.